Today we will continue working with the Pythagorean theorem. First of all, we would like to do some application of the theorem. So I like to call them story problems. So say you have a house. You have a house and you want to get to the roof, so you will probably use a ladder. So what we will do is we're going to draw our ladder right here. We know most houses, hopefully, your edge of your house, your wall of your house, the exterior wall and the ground form a right angle. So therefore, you have a right triangle. Now, you're wondering, I wonder how tall my house is. So you want to find this length. Our ladder, you know that you have a 13-foot ladder. And you know you can pace it off or measure it with a tape measure. You're going to place your ladder 5 feet away from the base of your house. So if you know those two lengths, you can use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out how tall your house is if you put your ladder at the very top of that exterior wall. So we can use the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we know that the side directly opposite of the right angle is always our hypotenuse. So that is our C value. So our C is 13. And one of our legs is 5. And we are trying to find the other leg of that triangle. So if we start simplifying, 5 squared is 25. 13 squared is 169. Now we start to simplify even farther. We're going to get the variable by itself. So we're subtracting 25 from each side. We're left with b squared on the left. And we have 144 on the right. Now, to get rid of the squared on this side, we take the square root of both sides. We're left with b equals 12. So therefore, our building, our house, is 12 feet tall. Now let's look at something else. We know that the Pythagorean theorem says if we have a right triangle labeled A, B, and C with C the hypotenuse, then we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's it. Now what we will use is what's called the converse. And what the converse is you start with the end, therefore you can get the beginning. So what they're saying, if you know you have a triangle, if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then you know it's a right triangle. Okay, so let's look at one example. Say I know I have a triangle. I'm just going to draw any triangle. And I have the sides 3, 4, and 5. Okay. I want to see if this makes a right triangle. So we always know that our longest side is always our hypotenuse. So in this triangle, my longest side is here, and I'm just going to kind of place them. So now I am going to check to be sure that this a squared plus b squared equals c squared actually works. So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. We are wondering. I'm going to put a little question mark there. Let's start simplifying. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. And we want to make sure. 9 plus 16 is 25. And yes, that checks out. Therefore, we know that if you have a triangle with sides length 3, 4, and 5, you have a right triangle. Let's try another one. Let's try it with 5, 6, and 9. Let's see if that works. So we know that the largest side is always the hypotenuse, so that is 9. So I'm going to make this my A, my B, and C. So we're going to say 5 squared plus 6 squared equals 9 squared. We are wondering if that works. Let's simplify. So 5 squared is 25. 6 squared is 36, 9 squared is 81. Does that work? 25 plus 36 is 61. So that does not work. So 5, 6, 9 does not make a right triangle. And there you have more fun with the Pythagorean theorem.